Welcome to the Telescope Show. We laugh, we discover God, and we totally nerd out. My name is Matthew Seipel Anderson, and with me is...
Katie Seipel Anderson.
Katie Seipel Anderson, my wonderful bride.
Are you a bride forever? Or are you just a wife or a husband? Do you maintain bride and groom for the long haul, or is that just kind of newlywed stuff?
Well, I don't know. I guess it's up to us to decide if we want to be perpetual newlyweds in love forever, or if we're just going to become old crusties.
Well, I guess that decides it then. Did you know that Neal Adams, the comic book legend and defender of arts rights, has actually passed away now at 80 years of age?
Well, that's sad.
It is a little sad. But he left his legacy in the arts world, in the comic arts world.
Okay. What was he known for?
Apparently he was known for his gritty, realistic style, specifically like the 1968 Batman.
Cool.
And then he advocated for better pay for artists and that kind of stuff to keep the arts rolling and the artists paid.
So he was one of the good ones.
He was one of the good ones, yeah.
He's salt of the earth. Well, we'll miss you, Neal Adams. But Katie, did you know that Isaac is actually not Oscar Isaac's last name?
I didn't know that, no. And Oscar Isaac is the Moon Knight guy, right?
Yeah, he's the Moon Knight guy. And he was born Oscar Isaac Hernandez Estrada. Why
would he dump those last two? Those are kind of really cool sounding.
The article I read said he didn't want to be typecast or stereotypes.
Oh, that's sad.
So he decided to go with a shorter last name that was simpler, that would just not create any kind of first impression on people who did casting.
Well, I think those last names are pretty cool, too.
They are pretty cool. I've got a few other fun facts about Oscar Isaac. He played in a bunch of punk, rock, and ska bands.
Your people!
Yeah, totally my people. Bands such as the Petrified Frogs. And apparently there was an animal theme going, and the Worms.
The Worms. Why would you name your band The Worms?
What's up, everybody? We're the Worms.
What was one of your punk band names, from your high school days?
You know what? I didn't play in any bands in high school.
Oh, I thought... I should know this about you, my lovely groom.
I just prayed every day that God would let me be in a punk rock band. That was it. I thought
you had a band in high school. I thought you played some show in high school.
Oh, yeah. One show.
Isn't that a band if it's one show?
I guess we played, my senior year, we played in the high school Battle of the Bands. And our band name was Jonah and the Wailers.
See, okay, so that is a band because you played in the Battle of the Bands. So I knew that about you. Don't make me feel like I didn't know you.
Oh, man. Sorry. My apologies.
So, did you know that Oscar Isaac got his uncle a role as an extra in Force Awakens?
What?
Apparently his uncle was kind of some sort of ultra fan of Star Wars.
That's amazing.
And Oscar Isaac must have a great ability to get things done for himself or for those he loves. So
wow, that's pretty cool.
I say that must be a testament to who he is as a person, because most people don't go out of their way to help someone who's a jerk. So maybe Oscar Isaac's actually kind of great guy that people just want to do something nice for.
Cool.
When he's like, hey, can you get my uncle in? And they're all like, sure, he's a super fan. We'll get him in.
Yeah, that's awesome. So today on the show, we're talking about Moon Knight, who of course is played by the wonderful Oscar Isaac. I wonder if he got anyone else to be an extra on Moon Knight.
I don't know, but he is kind of a good actor.
Oh, yeah. I agree.
This is the first movie I've seen where he's kind of the main actor, or it's not a movie. The first show that I've seen where he's the main actor, and playing these multiple personalities, he's basically playing just totally different roles. It's pretty cool.
It is. It's pretty impressive, and I've been enjoying watching him too. I think he really brings a lot to the show. So the Moon Knight season finale, episode 6, releases precisely at 3:01 a.m. Eastern Time or 12:01 Pacific Time on Wednesday, May 4th on Disney+.
Are you going to get up at 3:01 on Wednesday to watch it?
Will you get up with me?
Nope. I won't.
I will not.
Okay.
You're the morning person of the two of us.
That's a little too early for me. If it was 4:30 or 5, maybe I'd do it.
So we've been enjoying the show so far. At first, You weren't a huge fan of the show, but is it growing on you some?
It's solidly growing on me. I would say it's still not my favorite one, but it's solidly growing on me. I do think the acting is really helping because you get to know the character a lot, or the characters, kind of characters, and that storyline is really interesting, I think.
I agree, and I think all of our leads are very strong. The guy who plays Arthur Harrow does a great job of being very creepy, but slow and methodical, and
yeah, he has this kind of zen aura about him too, but manages to make it pretty creepy. I think the beginning scene with the glass in the shoes really kind of like nailed the creepy thing. So then you always think of him with the nails in his shoes. And I think when he's walking, I hear that like chinking, and I'm like, every time I hear that, I'm like, ugh. Yeah,
they put that little sound effect that it almost sounds like a flesh. It's a gross sound, and it definitely that does something. You know who else I like in this show? I really like the Layla character.
Yeah, she's pretty fun.
She's like an Indiana Jones woman.
I like how she's her and Steven are the main people who understand all the mythology behind what they're trying to search out and stuff. So that's kind of fun where she has that real role in helping to direct the search.
Her character is nice because it's multidimensional too. She has this whole thing with her father, and she's grown up around archaeology, and she's portrayed as this real Indiana Jonesy action chick, but she's also has the emotional side where she's all conflicted about Steven and Mark, and so she's a great character.
Yeah, and I know it's all fake, but you can definitely put yourself in her shoes and be like, wow, so I'm married to someone and he has multiple personalities, and then I'm like falling in love with the other of him who's still him, but it's different him. It would be really weird. It'd be a really weird place to be in.
Especially when you consider that Steven is kind of a rebound romance.
But it's not, because it's still Mark.
So it's all sorts of weird. Well, on this episode of the show, we want to talk about some predictions for the final episode. Predictions.
All right, I predict that Layla is the one who frees Khonshu, and then Khonshu saves Mark.
Ooh.
Or the Khonshu suit, or however he works that.
Yeah. Brings him back, either from the brink of death or just from straight up being dead.
Yeah, it's hard to know really where he's at right now.
He seems pretty dead.
But it's all kind of weird.
Yeah.
So, I don't know what they're going to do.
I think that's a great prediction. I predict that we are going to meet the Jake Lockley persona. However, I think they'll save that for the end of the show, because I think they're not going to want to muddy the waters too much. They've got this whole thing between Steven and Mark and Layla, and I think if they throw in Jake at the end, it's going to muddy things up too much. So
I think you should explain Jake.
So Jake is one of the other major personalities of Moon Knight in the comic books. And an acquaintance of mine who has read the Moon Knight comic books told me a little bit about Jake Lockley's personality. Basically, he is willing to do the dirty work. He is a cab driver, and he gets information out of people, sometimes by sort of immoral means. And he is the one in the show, supposedly, that took over the body and did the stabbing of people when they were interrogating them and needing information.
There was a couple episodes where they were in cars and stuff. Was there ever a time when that might have been Jake?
I don't know. I've seen some things online where people are speculating that they've thrown in a little smattering of Jake without telling us, but I really don't know.
I could see that because the Steven character was born, we found out of trauma from a childhood. So maybe Jake is coming out as trauma from having to exact justice on people from what Khonshu is making Mark do. Mark's like, whoa, this is too morally hard for me to do. And so then maybe Mark kind of created Jake Lockley to help him do that.
Is that a prediction?
Let's just go with that. That seems like a prediction. So I will say that's a prediction.
Yeah. You know what's interesting about that? When you take a step back and you think, what is Khonshu having them do or having Mark do that would be morally objectionable? And then it makes you kind of question Khonshu, and Khonshu hasn't really been portrayed as a straight up good guy.
No, they actually kind of made it seem like it's a huge burden to be having to do what Khonshu wants you to do.
Right. And so then you just think, okay, Khonshu and Amit are actually pretty similar. They both want to punish evildoers and punish them in this life while they're still alive. Or
they just want to make it so that they go meet their punishment.
Yeah.
And that's what it seems like is happening. But Amit wants to do it before they even do the bad stuff.
Right. So Amit is a step worse than Khonshu. They are similar in that they want to punish these sinners. When I look at Jesus and in his message, Jesus wants to redeem people and show his love to people. And he warns that there will be a day of reckoning, but his message is really he wants to seek and save and love people who are broken, who have made mistakes, who have done wrong things. His whole message was around grabbing those people and saying, hey, there's a way back to God. God loves you. And Jesus went so far as to actually step into that punishment and take the punishment on our behalf. And maybe you're listening and you are struggling with the burden of guilt. You know, a lot of us deal with guilt from our past, whether it's something that you've said, something that you've done. I want you to know today that God does love you and he wants to forgive your sin. Jesus was already punished for those sins and those things you feel guilty for. And so come to him and you can know that you're forgiven in his eyes. And that can be a very powerful thing for people to experience.
Yeah, it can really bring like new life to you. It seems like Khonshu is going to be bringing back life to Mark, according to the preview that we just watched.
Yeah, so that trailer showed Moon Knight going head-to-head with Arthur Harrow, with Arthur having his full power given to him by Amit, who's been released. So obviously we think Moon Knight's probably going to win, but the big question is, what happens to Arthur Harrow and Amit?
But what if he doesn't win? What if Mark doesn't win?
I don't know. I guess as long as he survives.
Because he obviously has to survive in some way in order for Moon Knight to be able to continue and be a part of the future movies.
Yeah.
But what if a different prediction happens?
Ooh, well, we actually did receive one more prediction from a listener. So this is from Kiana, and she wrote, what if near the end of Moon Knight, all the gods get together to get Amit, and at the last minute, Gore, the God Butcher, shows up to kill the gods? Now, if you don't know, Gore the God Butcher is a character who is slated to be the main antagonist in the upcoming film Thor: Love and Thunder. And so he's a character who just doesn't like the other god characters or the god characters and just wants to kill them. So the prediction from Kiana goes on to say Mark escapes somehow with Khonshu, and it leads into Thor: Love and Thunder. Mark goes to find other gods to warn them or look for help and finds Zeus. And while he's with Zeus, he collides with Thor and or Guardians of the Galaxy. Don't know where it goes from there, just a theory.
That is some theory.
Yeah. And then
so this guy comes in and just like destroys all of them, and
that's that.
Then it closes and they're like, watch Thor.
Yeah.
I mean, it could happen.
It could happen. That would be pretty wild. I would be pretty shocked if they would reveal this big villain in a TV show.
Yeah, that's true.
But it would be a cool story tie-in if they did do that. You know what I could definitely see is I could definitely see some crossover from Moon Knight into the Thor movie. Maybe in the Thor movie they would show some of the characters from Moon Knight being victims of gore or something like that. That could be interesting.
We will see.
We shall see. I mean, Marvel likes to tie all these things together, so I guess anything's possible. All right, well, with that prediction, we are going to wrap this episode. Thanks so much for listening. If we are wrong in our predictions, feel free to hop on social media, connect with us, and tease us mercilessly about being wrong.
And you will actually probably find out if we're wrong very early on, since the final episode is coming out tomorrow, really early in the morning, about the same time as this is getting released.
That's right. So we'll see. We're putting it all on the line. Everyone, thank you so much for listening. We love you. God bless. Take care. Bye-bye.